Welcome to God's Barn Ministries. And I've had people ask me, why do you call it God's Barn? And very simply, we film these in a barn. That's why we do it. As you could see, it's just what's here, and this is what we do. God's given me some insight into the prophetic world and what he's shown me things. And I don't count myself as a prophet, but when God shows you something and then he says, go tell people what you know, you need to do it. You need to be obedient to what he's saying and he'll prosper it. So I've had people ask me, well, when is all this going to end? How long? And I've had people say to me, no, we got 200-300 years and all of that. So I'm going to try to answer that question this morning, today. And it comes out of Luke 21 and 32. And he says this, Jesus says this, he says, verily I say unto you, that this generation shall not pass away until all things be fulfilled, or they're not going to pass away until all this is done and over with. And right before that, he says that, behold the parable of the fig tree. He says other things, but the fig tree is Israel. Okay, so now he's saying the generation will not pass away before the end comes, and we have to look at Israel. That's the fig tree. So when did all this start? You'd have to simply say it this way. And after 2,000 years, you wonder, is this ever going to happen? And I remember talking about the rapture to people years ago, and we were like, yeah. But you know what? It's right at the door. It's not far off at all. All this began, the fig tree, in 1948, when Israel became a nation again. That was when the fig tree began to blossom. That was the beginning of the end. And he says this, he said, how long will this take? He's telling you without giving you dates and years. He's telling you how long it's going to take, approximately. And he said, this generation that sees all these things will not pass away, and then the end shall come. So the generation that sees all these things is my generation, the baby boom generation, from 1948 on. Now, if you go into the Bible and you look in the beginning of Matthew, it lays out all this genealogy, and it flat says, these are the generations of, and it goes to David, and he goes on and on. If you do all the math and work it out, a generation comes out to be 53 years. So if you add 53 years to 1948, you got a problem. Something's not working. But it's not what he said. He said that generation will not pass away. So we're talking about a lifespan. In fact, when you do the numbers in Matthew, it comes to about 53 years, and that's way past already. But here's what happened. In Psalm 90, Moses said this. He said, the people are living 70 or 80 years. The Bible always interprets itself. It'll tell you what a generation is, 53 years. It'll tell you these things if you know it and you study it. So a generation is 70 to 80 years. So, this is interesting because people born in 1948 are already starting to die off. My generation is starting to die off. The baby boom generation, we're out. We're all retired or gone, or they really don't run the business anymore. The children are running it. We're sort of out. We're moving out of the picture, but it's not over yet. We're not done yet. So, and I found it interesting because Moses said they were living 70 and 80 years. That was way back then. And when you study history in the Middle Ages, the average lifespan was 27. In fact, in 1950, the average lifespan of an American was 47. So we're not evolving, we're devolving. So to come up with some kind of an end on all of this, we take 70, or let's take 80 years. Let's do that. We take 1948 and then we add 80 years to it and we come to 2028. This thing is going to end about on or around 2028. Now, you could say, well, if you said 2028's when the second coming, then the rapture should be about 7 years before that. And we've already passed that. I can't give you an exact date or a day, although I've done some numbers and I've come up with some, we're really close to the rapture. But basically what he's saying is the people, the generation that sees Israel become a nation again, that group, before they pass away, the end is going to come. So we now have a time frame, a biblical interpretation of a time frame, not, well, a generation could be 100 years, it could be 50. You can make up any number you want to make up. But the way I see this when I look at the scriptures is 2028 is a serious date. Something's going to happen on or before then. And the rapture comes before that because he says, you don't even know when this is going to come. He says it comes at a time when you think not. So really, the rapture could come any day. The rapture's on its way. The signs are all there. We don't have a whole lot of time to go. And the rapture's a good thing. For you who are born again and born again believers, we just need to live our life being a blessing wherever we go, blessing people, walking in God's kingdom because the time is short. We really are at the final pages of history. The time is short. If you're born again, walk with God as closely as you can. Find out what he wants you to do. And if you're not born again, man, you need to get born again fast because you don't want to go through what's coming. The rapture of the church is on its way, and this is a good thing for us, the believers. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. I hope this helps you give you a time frame of when all this happens. Thank you.